Hey, welcome to the Quinta, and it's an absolutely beautiful day again. We've had some really cold weather of late though, and you might have seen that in some of the videos. It's been freezing. Anyway, let's get into it. Serra de Estrella is such a wonderful dog. They've all seem to have really nice characters, and that's an absolutely brilliant thing. Maya currently rounding up the chickens. In today's video, what I'd really like to do is to ask your opinion on something, and that is channel memberships. I've noticed coming up on my dashboard that this is a new thing that YouTube is offering, and I'm really in two minds as to whether it's a good thing. I'm sort of going towards yes, because it means that I can release videos to those that wish to support the channel a little bit earlier with no adverts. I personally find adverts a little bit boring and tend to flick past them, and they do interrupt the viewing. So that's one thing which leads me to think it might be a positive thing. But what do you think? Would you actually want to support us in that manner, or are you very happy to stay as you are? Whichever, you know, it's an absolute honour that you watch these videos, and I do hope you enjoy them. I enjoy reading all your comments, and you know, to see that they're overwhelmingly positive, it is absolutely brilliant. And of course some of them actually do inspire me to make other videos, which is great, because it can be quite difficult to come up with content. Right, let's do a little bit of chainsawing. These dead trees need to come down. They get a little bit unpredictable, and the last thing I actually want is them coming over in the wind and hurting somebody. Oh, those dogs are woofing at. What have they seen? I'm up here. What you doing? Maya? What you doing? I think that they think we're going for a walk. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, you've got a limp, haven't you, my boy? What happened to you? No wonder you're nervous of people. No wonder you're nervous of people. Oh, your back foot hurts, doesn't it? Yes. Right, now back onto what I was actually doing. That is going to chop this tree down before it falls down. Well, that went where I wanted it. Well, that's going to take a bit of clearing up. Still, that's one down. And as you can see, the other day I did take some others down. And they're going to take some clearing up as well. So one thing I am going to do is leave some of the logs here, because of course, you know, all sorts of insects do live in dead wood. You can see quite a lot of activity, insect activity has already gone on in here, and of course we've got fungus, various evidence of mycelium in there. So I'll leave that to do its thing. You're right. Loud little pussycats, aren't you? All this shouting. If you didn't watch the video that had us processing the chickens, I think it was possibly a little bit of a harsh one, and I would like to say we are completely over the shock of it, but we pretty much are, and actually we're going to have one for supper tonight, assuming it's defrosted. Is that a pigeon? It is.
Muito bom.
Yeah, I think we've got away with it. I think we have proven to ourselves that we're not horrible hypocrites and just needing to go to the supermarket to buy our food and not have a care for where it actually comes from. Nevertheless, I do understand it's not for everybody. What's down there? What have you seen? It's a good point for woofing, isn't it? Oh, so many spring flowers. It's absolutely gorgeous. Looking up in the tree here, I can see a few nests of processionary caterpillars. It's not particularly good news. And of course they're very high, so I'm not quite sure what I can do about that. You can get rings that go around the trees, and that serves to collect them as they start walking down. The problem with them is that they have these little hairs which are extremely irritating, and if the dogs decide that they're going to play with them, or God forbid pick one up in the mouth, it can actually cause serious problems. I wanted to touch briefly on something that is just going through the European Parliament at the moment, and it's also affecting almost all other parts of the European continent, and that is this prohibition of nitrogen fertilizers, alongside a requirement to bring land back into natural use, and predominantly that is by planting a lot of trees. And they want to, for I assume all the best reasons, they want to take wasteland and they want to improve it, and that's obviously going to help biodiversity and all sorts of other things. But we've seen in Wales that it actually has laws of unintended consequences come to bear. It's actually had a bit of an issue with the way they are trying to implement it, because in Wales what they're actually asking farmers to do is to take arable land, so land that is generally used for cereal crops, and to put 10% of that into growing trees. You may say, well, what's the problem with that? Well, the issue is that then that land is not actually going to be useful for anything apart from trees. It won't be available for growing food, and if it's not growing food, and if you can't grow enough, then you've got to import it. It all starts making things a little bit more expensive, and obviously if a farmer is not making enough money and he can't put his prices up, then he is at risk of going out of business, or she is at risk of going out of business. Now, in an ideal world, they would be able to put their prices up a little bit, and then obviously this environmental stewardship campaign would, be justifiable, or more justifiable. Unfortunately, the supermarkets that we all use have such a hold on farmers. They manage to keep the prices of the initial commodities so low that farmers are on very, very low margins. It's not really something that affects us because we are not farming commercially. As we've said before, we are effectively subsistence farmers. And that comes back to nitrogen, because we can afford to plant a cover crop, as we did up here, of wonderful clover. And clover, of course, being a legume, it fixes the nitrogen in the soil. We plough that in, and then that serves as a natural fertilizer. And of course, you could very well say, well, why don't farmers do that? And it comes down to the fact that you are taking land out of food production to grow another crop so that then you can grow the next one, rather than, for example, being able to drill wheat in spring and then harvest it later on in the summer and hopefully grow another crop on that same field. And you can't do that without fertilizers. It just doesn't work. The land has to have some form of extra stuff put into it if you're taking the goodness out in the food and in the straw. So, as I alluded to in the video about the chickens, this is where we put all the feathers, and they are now breaking down into the soil and giving us some extra nutrients. Now, the chickens spend most of their lives actually scratching around in here, so I suppose it's a pleasing if slightly gruesome reminder of the circularity of life. These are absolutely stunning plants, aren't they? They're not actually artichokes, they're cardoons. We have got some artichokes growing down the way. You can eat the leaf stalks of them, you can blanch them and what have you. Ev's not very fond of those though. But the reason that they are grown is if you want to make cheese, then instead of using rennet, you can actually use the flowers of the cardoon to produce the same effect. So if you are eating cheese that is branded as vegetarian, then the chances are these plants have been used to curdle the milk. There we go, another peaceful day on the Quinta, and as you no doubt can tell, there's always a variety of tasks to be done, and you can never get everything done in one day. So if you enjoyed the video, please do click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, then do so, and let me know your comments down below. So as ever, wishing you an absolutely wonderful day, whatever you're doing. Take care of yourselves. Do let me know what you think about the idea of channel memberships. You know, if you've made it to the end of this video, I really do want to hear from you. It's really valuable feedback. As I say, we can make your experience perhaps slightly better with some unique content, and we can also release the videos a little bit earlier with no adverts. So something to mull over, something to let me know what you think about.